What's going on, y'all? Sean here, and I want to talk to you if you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or older, and you want to know how to prevent one of the most common debilitating things that happens with people when they get older, elderly, and that is fracturing hips. I don't have the statistics with me now, but apparently when someone fractures a hip, their risk of all-cause mortality shoots up after that. Now, of course, you know, if you fall and you break a hip, then that can also that in and of itself could be very dangerous. You know, God forbid, you know, you hit your head on something or whatever, or have some sort of blunt force trauma. But also, the year after somebody breaks a hip is dangerous, okay? And so, and this kind of hits a little close to home. My grandmother, several years ago, she since passed on, but she broke her hip. And she was, what, 95, I want to say. But anyhow, this is very important. So let's kind of talk about what leads to breaking hips when you get older, and then some simple things you can start doing regularly now in your 40s and beyond to prevent that from happening. So first thing to note is that breaking hips is a lot more common in women. And the reason why is because as far as I know, it has to do with, you know, hormones, especially like estrogen and whatnot, and bone. And women tend to have a lot of bone loss post menopause, okay? And that, so what that means is, and it's called osteopenia, osteoporosis. And what that means is that the bones become less dense over time, and that can lead to bones that are a lot more easily broken. If you couple that with not really doing a whole lot, as a lot of us do as we get older, we tend to do less movement, then what happens is we tend to have even less dense bone, because weight bearing, and I'm talking about even something as simple as walking, but it can also be exercise as well, that's like resistance training. Weight bearing helps to build stronger bones. It's especially important the younger that you are to go ahead and set the foundation, because your ability to lay down new bone tissue decreases with age. But you can still do something. All right. So that's one thing. It's a hormonal kind of thing that tends to be a lot more associated with ladies, but men, you can break hips as well. Of course you can. And our bones can tend to get weaker with age, especially whenever we become inactive as we get older, which I strongly discourage you from doing. The other thing is we tend to just get weaker. Like I said, when you're inactive, then you get weaker. You stop being able to do stuff like this. You stop being able to lift your legs up as high, which is very important. And so a lot of times, even when you see someone who is kind of shuffling or kind of having issues going upstairs and stuff like that, then they're lacking this strength, which is specifically hip flexor strength. You have a muscle that runs from your pelvis down to the side of your knee. It's called your hip flexor, and it lifts your legs up like this, okay? And so it tends to be weakened and shortened from sitting down in the chair for hours and hours and hours, weeks, every day after weeks after months after years. And so those muscles, among other ones, tend to get really weak. Another thing is just overall strength, just having weak legs overall. And then finally, balance. A lot of times we tend to lose balance, and balance is something that a lot of us don't train. Think about it. You never really train balance. So what I want to do in this next part of this video is I want to give you a few things that you can do starting now to help to train those different kind of things. Specifically, we're going to start with like leg strengthening. We're gonna work on hip flexor strengthening, and then we're also going to talk about a few things with balance as well. So let's get into it. All right. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is to practice on stairs. Now, there's other things you can do. You can do squats, which I encourage you to do those. You can do lunges, you can do step ups and all these kind of things. But I'm talking about stuff now that's very, very simple, that is probably literally right at home, okay? So what I want you to do is practice walking upstairs. A lot of times we start to avoid stairs as we get older. And of course there may be some joint issues. You might need to get those addressed, and also make sure you're eating a good diet so that you don't have a lot of inflammation. But practice walking upstairs. Now specifically, it's important for you to go up the stairs and down the stairs, okay? Now, you already know how to do it. So basically, you're just going up. And then coming down. Now this coming down the stairs strength is very important, in particular because of what's called your eccentric strength. That is the strength, like for example, if you're doing like a squat, it's the strength that's involved whenever you're descending. It's like the slow it down strength, okay? We tend to focus on the push it up strength or the push up the weight strength with the squat. But then we tend to de-emphasize the slow it down kind of strength. And apparently, according to Dr. Peter Attia, that's a strength that a lot of us tend to lose a whole lot of. So don't underestimate your ability to come downstairs. So this is what I want you to do. It might seem a little outlandish, but follow me. What I want you to do is I want you to set a timer. It can be once every other day or whatever. A timer for maybe starting, I don't know, 2 minutes. And you're literally gonna find a flight of stairs. I have 14 stairs here. And you're gonna go up the stairs and down the stairs. Up the stairs and down the stairs. What it's gonna do is it's gonna help you to train, especially if you don't do this a lot, it's gonna train your ability to go up and down stairs. And it's gonna be a good workout too, okay? And so then what you might wanna do is you might want to increase the frequency of that. You definitely wanna increase the duration of it. And use it as a workout. An every other day workout is easy, and it's specifically training your, is helping you to gain strength in your hip flexors because you're walking up the stairs and you're having to lift up. And then of course your quads, your hamstrings, glutes, even your calves as well. It's helping you to practice that, okay? So that's one thing I want you to do. All right, here's something else I want you to do. I want you to do knee lifts. Now I'm making it easier here, but I'm gonna give you another variation that you can do that's maybe slightly more difficult, okay? So basically just sitting here, all we're gonna do is lift our knees up, okay? And I'm holding it for like a brief, maybe 1 second pause, okay? And so this is even more directly training your hip flexors, so you better lift your legs, okay? Once again, you can either go for a certain amount of reps, I don't know, like maybe 2 sets of 20 per leg, or you might set a timer and just kind of do them until the time elapses, or you might do it until you get a good burn in the legs. You should feel it in here. The main thing is make sure you don't do an uneven amount. Do each leg equally. But yeah, that's all we're doing here. We're lifting up our knees, strengthen those hip flexors, and kind of hold it briefly, okay? Now, let me show you a variation of this on the floor. All right, so let me show you this variation on the floor. Gotta put these little doll toys away because I am downstairs in my kids' den where their toys and stuff are. But check this out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, this is like a more advanced version, so you gotta be able to get on the ground, first of all. But basically, we're just lifting our legs up like this, okay? Just lifting our legs up like this, alternating legs, just like we're alternating legs on the stairs, okay? Try to lift it up. Now, it's not important for you to like lift your legs up to like a 90-degree angle. You know, maybe come up to about 75 degrees, okay? And you should really feel this in your quads and in your hip flexors here, okay? So that's a good way also to strengthen your hip flexors. Try to point your toe a bit because that's going to help you to get even more of like a flex in that hip flexor. But again, the object is to strengthen those hip flexors so that you retain the ability to, to lift your legs up. Don't underestimate the necessity of being able to do that. All right, so let's go to some balance work. Okay, sorry that I have to do a video overdub of this. Obviously, my head was cut off in the shot, but we're talking about balance here. What you can do is, and you'll see me demonstrate this, stand on one leg. Just lift another leg up and just practice balancing on one leg. And you're going to feel the muscles in your feet, like the various little muscles in your feet, as well as in your calves, activate. Okay, make sure you practice, of course, with both legs. And then you also want to, maybe start with 30 seconds. Then you maybe go from 30 seconds to a minute, and so on and so forth. But balance is not just something that you have or you don't have. It's also something that can be maintained or enhanced. Okay. And so another thing you can do is walk in a straight line. So literally draw a line in front of you, find a line somewhere, excuse me, and walk the line 1 foot in front of the other and do that for a few reps. Okay. These are things that will help you to enhance your balance to make it less likely that you fall. Now, another thing I want to reemphasize is the importance of also strength training. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but basically, you want to make sure that you are bearing weight on your big leg bones, your femur and your your tibia and fibula, I think is what they're called in the lower leg. But anyhow, you want to do stuff like, squats with weight, deadlifts, and lunges with weight, the variations of those different kind of things. Now, walking does count as weight bearing. It's a little lighter though, so you also might consider running, sprinting. Now, if you want to be easier on your joints, then you can also consider sprinting or running uphill, not downhill, but uphill. Because believe it or not, that's going to be easier on your joints because it lets the muscles in your thighs serve more as shock absorbers rather than your knees taking more of that shock. If this video was helpful to you, comment below. Let me know, how it was for you. Also, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a good one. As we get older, it becomes increasingly important to maintain and build muscle. Muscle helps you burn fat, stay mobile, and can contribute to longevity. However, many people have no idea how to work out to build muscle. My mini workout series on Patreon provides you with my body weight mini workout video library. These workouts use little to no equipment, which means that you can do them in the privacy of your own home. They start at beginner level and progress from there to ensure you continue to see results. Every workout is a full body workout, hitting chest, back, legs, and glutes, as well as other muscles in between. Become a patron today and receive access to my series of mini workouts, plus access to a digital copy of my book, 8 Weeks to Transform Your Diet and Your Health. By combining the workouts with healthy diet changes, as outlined in my book, you'll definitely be on your way to weight loss, improved health, and visible results. Join me at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness today.